Bookish Realm, and I am back with another currently checked out video, which is so crazy. I don't know why I do this, you know. I think I just have a book buying problem, and having library books kind of helps me deal with it. So this is the bag of books. It's a huge bag. And there's some movies in here, but there's a lot of books, and it's super heavy. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started so you guys can see what I have checked out now. So the first thing that I have checked out is Orange Volume 1, and this is one that I have already read. It is about a group of friends who befriend another guy who comes from a different school, and we find out that something happens to him. He ends up dying in the future. So the main character, Naho, gets a letter from herself from the future, and she's trying to coach her on how to save this guy's life. I won't say too much about it because I don't want to spoil it. It is a rather long manga, but like I said, I already read this. The first time I read it, I gave it 5 stars. This time I read it, I only gave it 3. And I'm not gonna say why in this video. I will talk about that in my December wrap up. The next one that I have checked out, let's see if I can fight that shine, is Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. I know that this has gotten some mixed reviews. It is about a mother who takes her son out of an abusive household, and they move to this new town, and everything seems to be going right, but then he goes missing, and he comes back unharmed, but something about him is not right. And he's on this mission to build this tree house by Christmas, or else everybody in the town is going to be different, or I guess something bad's going to happen. I have heard mixed things about this book, like I said, but I think it's going to be good. It is chunky. I don't know when I'm going to get to it. There's no hold on this at all. Like, it's not a popular book at my library, so we'll see how I feel about it. The next book that I have checked out is a children's book, and it is called Unusual Chickens for the Exceptional Poultry Farmer by Kelly Jones, and I'm actually reading this one for work. It's about a girl and her, I think that she has chickens with superpowers, and she's reaching out to her abuelita to kind of help her. I don't know much about it, but it has these really neat illustrations on the inside, which I love children's books with illustrations because I think it just adds so much flair to the book. So I'm probably gonna have this one read within the week because, like I said, this is for a project at work, so I definitely have to have this one read soon. The next book that I have here is Friendo by Andrew Clements. This is a classic. The artwork was done by Brian Selznick. I haven't read this book in years, but it's about this kid who renames his pen a Friendle, and it causes so much uproar and chaos. It has a great ending to it, but I haven't read. I love Andrew Clements' books. I used to have a lot of his books. I don't know where they are now, but it's so great. And of course, you know, with Brian Selznick doing the artwork, it has some very, very beautiful illustrations in it. So I'm definitely, this is another one that I'm reading for a project, a project at work, so this one will probably be read in the next week or so as well. The next book that I have here is The 10th Girl by Sarah Faring. This is supposed to be like a, I guess, horror / suspense novel about this girl who goes to a boarding school to become a teacher, and there's some weird things that happen. I haven't really heard a lot of people say much about this one because it just came out not too long ago. It just came out, I think, in like around September. So I'm intrigued. There was a giveaway with this, but they were giving away with a Ouija board, and I was like, nah, son, I have a kid. We're not gonna bring that in my house. So hopefully not too many of those elements. We'll see when I pick it up though. I also checked out The Immortal Rules by Julie Kagawa. This is the first book in her Blood of Eden series, which is kind of like a vampire dystopian type of book where something happens and people turn into vampires, and you have humans trying to live a normal life, and the main character in this book is a human until she dies and becomes a vampire, and they're trying to look for, I believe, a cure to reverse what has happened. I have never read any of Julie Kagawa's work, even though I have her book Shadow and Fox on my shelves, and I know that she is coming out with the 10th anniversary editions of her Iron Face series, but this is where I wanted to start because I wanted a classic vampire, like old school YA vampire, not any of the new school stuff that's been going on, but just a classic YA vampire dystopian book, and this popped up in a list of recommendations. So the next book that I have checked out is one that hasn't been getting a lot of buzz on BookTube, but I think it should. It's a National Book Award finalist, and it is Pet by Awaki Emizi. I probably have said that wrong, but it's about these two friends, and they live in a town where they have been told that monsters don't exist, but then this creature called Pet emerges and says that it is there to hunt a monster. And the story is all about what you do when society is in denial about something, because in this it's like, how do you fight up monsters when everybody's telling you that they don't exist? And for me, that kind of, and I mean, this book may not be about it, but it just instantaneously made me think about the fact, like, how do we combat things like racism when you have society telling you that it doesn't exist anymore and that we're a colorblind society, like stuff like that. So I think this is a very timely book. It is a very short book. It is under or close to just 200 pages, but I think it's going to be great, and I think I may pick this one up before the month is over with. The next one that I have is a children's graphic novel, and it is called Pashmina by Nidhi Ganani, or Chanani, my bad, I thought that was a G. And this is about a young girl by the name of Priyanka, and her mother was born and raised in India, and Pri wants to know a lot more about like her mother's life in India and why she left her father behind, but of course her mother doesn't want to talk about it. So it's kind of a tale of self-discovery and learning more about your cultural past and how to fit into two worlds, and I think it's going to be great. It is in kind of, I don't want to say black and white, almost like gray. Black and white seems to be the artwork color, which, I mean, I read manga, so I'm used to, and it has bits of color in some parts of it. I wonder if that may be significant. I don't know because I haven't read it yet, but I think the addition of the color may be significant to the story. This is another one that I'm reading for a project at work, so I need to read this one soon as well. I have Gideon of the Ninth, which I don't even need to really talk about because this is a BookTube fan favorite, or it was when it first came out. I don't know how people feel about it. I know that they probably have read it, but I was excited to know that my library was getting it, and my library got the one with black sprayed edges. Don't know how they acquired this copy, but that's pretty cool that they did get the one with sprayed black edges. And I know that this has to do with necromancy, and it has lesbians in it, I believe. So those seem to be like the keywords that everybody keeps coming up with, and I think these may be morally gray characters. I mean, necromancy. Hey, so I'll be interested in picking this one up. This is probably one that I need to pick up soon because it'll probably be due back soon, because I'm sure there are quite a few holds on this one. The next one that I have here is Serpent End by Shelby Mahurin. This one has a lot of controversy surrounding it because of the fact of, like, I think content. People weren't sure if it was YA or adult. I think some people consider it to be problematic, but I know it deals with like witches and a coven. And I kind of want to go into it blind only because people have been talking so much about it. I just want to block everything out, crack the book open, and read it. This is one that I plan on starting probably this weekend and finishing up into next week, because I know that some people are on hold for this one as well, so I would have to turn this one earlier than everything else. The next one I have here is There Will Come a Darkness by Katie Rose Poole. This one is told in 5 different perspectives. It's about prophets who foretold an age of darkness, and there are 5 lives that are kind of revolving around that, and they're set to collide with each other. I've only seen a couple people read this and heard that it was just okay, but I wanted to give it a try myself. I also almost forgot that I have Orange Volume 2 by Ichigo Takano. I 9 times out of 10 am going to read this one soon as well, since I already finished volume 1, and I want to read this one as soon as possible while everything is still fresh on my mind. The next one that I have here is Finding Langston. This is a children's book by Lisa Klein Ransom, and this is about a young boy whose mother dies and he has to move from his home in Alabama to Chicago with his dad, and he doesn't fit in. People make fun of him because they say he's too country, but he goes to the library and he finds another Langston. Langston Hughes' poetry, and it's kind of, I think, a story of self-discovery. A very, very short children's book, not even 100 pages, but I think it is going to be rather good, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading this one. I have another Andrew Clements book, which is Janitors Boy, and this is about a guy or a kid by the name of Jack, and he gets busted for vandalizing school property, and he sticks watermelon gum on it. So as punishment, he has to stay after school and do cleanup with the chief custodian, and he learns big lessons from doing that. This is probably one of my favorites outside of, I think, The School Story was my other favorite, but this is probably one of my favorite Andrew Clements books. So I'm excited to reread it again so many years later as an adult. I think Andrew Clements was just my go-to as a kid, and I loved his work. And these books are fairly old that I think about it. When I think about how old I am, a lot of them were published in like 96, 97, 2000. So these are some older books. This one is at least 19 going on 20 years old. The next one I have here is Wake by Lisa McMahon. I read Wake and Fade a long time ago when I really started delving into YA, and this is one that definitely stood out to me, and one that I think that I enjoyed, but I can't quite remember why I enjoyed it. So I am going to do a reread of it and see if it still holds up. This is older YA, and they usually don't hold up to the time, but I have another Lisa McMahon book on my TBR, but it's a middle grade series, so I'm going to see how this one pans out. I also have two more manga checked out. I have Dreaming Sun checked out by Ichigo Takano, who of course I just talked about because I had Orange checked out. And then I have Mononoke Sharing Volume 2 checked out because I read the first one earlier this year and really enjoyed it. It has some fan service, as you can see by the cover, but it's just about these girls that live together, and they have some really interesting scenarios, so I'm gonna read that one as well. So the next book that I have here is Beyond the Black Door by A.M. Strickland. This is about a girl and a mother who can delve into people's souls, and there's this black door that follows the main character Kamai. I'm not sure how to say her name. It follows her around, and her mother told her never to open up the door, and something happens and she opens up the door. I've heard people say that they have really enjoyed this one, so this is one that I really want to get to very soon. I also decided to check out My Hero Academia Volume 2. I read the first one earlier this year, never continue with the series, but I want to continue with it because I did rather enjoy the first volume. And I did a Manga's first impressions of this and Mononoke Sharing, so I will link that in the cards above. The next book that I have here is The Downstairs Girl by Stacey Lee. I have heard nobody really talk about this except Riley Marie. I think she had an art copy of it and she read it, and I think she rather enjoyed it. I definitely am interested in reading this one because it is about a young woman who works as a lady maid for a really cruel family, and she decides to write under a pen name in a newsletter, and she talks about a lot of social issues that are going on, and of course it causes a lot of problems. I think it's going to be really good. I'm not sure when I'm going to get to this one, but it probably won't be until January of next year. I don't think I'm going to get to this one this year before the year ends. The next book that I have here is The 57 Bus, and it is actually a teen nonfiction book, and it's about two high school students, Richard and Sasha. They both take the 57 bus, but something happens and Sasha ends up severely burned, and Richard ends up charged with 2 hate crimes, and it is really a look at the criminal justice system and how unfair it is, especially to young black men, which is what Richard is. And it is definitely a hard-hitting book. I really want to actually pick this one up tonight. because it's just a hard-hitting book, and I think it's going to be really, really intriguing and really interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this all played up. I know that it's going to hurt my feelings to read it, but I think it's one that I need to definitely read. And the last one that I have here, I don't know much about, and it is Winter Street by Ellen Hildebrand. This is the first book, I think, in a series. I honestly just picked this one up because I was like, ooh, it looks like it'll be a holiday book. So that's why I have this one, to be quite honest with you. If you've read it, let me know more about it. And the last few things that I have checked out are movies. So I checked out What Men Want with Taraji P. Henson in it. I am super excited because she hears the thoughts of men. Who doesn't want to know what men are thinking? Then I got Danny Phantom, the complete series. I'm so excited to watch this. I haven't seen Danny Phantom in years. And then I got 2 Hallmark holiday movies, and it's Sign, Seal, Deliver for Christmas. And then I also got Single Santa Seeks Mrs. Claus. Alright, y'all, so that's what I have checked out right now. I know it's a lot, but I told you guys that I would do another currently checked out video. I still have a lot of stuff checked out from that first video. I think I have like 50 something items checked out from the library right now. I mean, what can I say? I like utilizing my library. I think they are amazing, even if I'm biased because I work for them. But I have all this stuff checked out from the library. I don't know when I'm going to read all of it. I'm actually organizing piles right now because it's stuff that I want to get through before the end of December. Stuff that I need to get through before the end of December, and I don't know how I'm going to do it, but we shall see. We shall see. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, make sure you click the subscribe button. As always, I will leave my social media linked in the description box below. If you like these videos and you keep wanting to see my currently checked out stuff, please let me know in the comments. That way, like, I know that these videos are valuable, that you guys really enjoy them, so that I know to keep doing them, because I don't want to keep doing them and it's like nobody really is interested in seeing these. But thanks you guys for watching, and I'll be back with another video soon.